way to explain it, on a low pressure system, the pressure that's in the main now is the pressure that's in your home. So we're going to go to and that's inches of water column, we're going to go to a pound system now to give us that volume and that capability of doing more stuff. For that to happen, we're going to have a pound system all the way to the house. That meter needs to come outside with a regulator on it to cut the pressure for inside your home. So the home will get the same pressure, but we'll have more capability outside in case you need more. But we want those meters now outside for safety reasons. If that makes sense. So, will I be notified when we need to get inside my home or business? Yes. The big benefit that us in the construction department has over, say, a lead department or our operations folks, we are very, very fortunate to have the luxury of planning our work, right? So nobody will show up and their gas be off without being notified. Nobody will show up and say, you're working in my yard, replace my service and I don't know. We will contact every customer individually, schedule the time that works best for them to replace their service line, and do it that way. We worked around birthday parties, graduation parties, whatever, ball games, we worked around it all. So if we say, hey, we'd like to replace your gas service on a Thursday, you say, Thursday don't work for me, it'd be better next Monday, perfectly fine, we can do that. So that's one huge benefit that we have. We can, as far as your service lines and things like that, we can schedule that work. So, we need to dig in my yard, sidewalk, or driveway. Yes, this project is planned for open cut, the whole project. I am going to try to utilize a directional drill as much as I possibly can, which cuts way down on disturbance. But to do that, I have to do a lot of extra things as far as video and the sewer lines. And I think Nathan's going to test sometimes in Mount Sterling, that's not as easy to do. So our sewer lines are somewhat smaller in Mount Sterling, so it's hard to get the camera through. So we will try to utilize that as much as possible. But if not, then it will be open cut. And if it is open cut, whether it's your yard, sidewalk, driveway, street, that will all be repaired with permanent asphalt, blacktop, concrete. We'll put back whatever we took out, if that makes sense. So, moving on here. So, another a good number to identify or to familiarize yourself with, what if I smell gas while you're working? So if you smell gas while we're working, now of course we deal with some gas as we're working, making tie-ins, purging meters and things like that. But if you smell gas to where it's concerning, where there's nobody right there where you can ask, there's the 1-800 number to call, or you report a gas leak, and that immediately triggers us to dispatch somebody that by our requirements has to be on site within 45 minutes. So if you smell gas, please call that number. How long will my gas be turned off? I know this is always a huge issue. People know, hey, I got hot water, I got stoves, I got dinner to cook, that type of thing. So normally when we replace your service line, your gas is off roughly 4 to 6 hours. So we try to do everything that we possibly can before we turn your gas off. We try to notify you, say, hey, we're going to be turning your gas off here in a couple of hours. Try to give you an opportunity to crank your heat up, before we turn the gas off. Then we turn the gas off, replace your service line, get your appliances relit, and all that stuff, and then your gas is back on. So usually your gas isn't on very long at all. It shouldn't be off overnight under any circumstances. Will you block my street or driveway? Yes, we will be blocking the streets. We will be blocking the driveways occasionally as we're digging. But the folks there have been informed. We deal with this all the time. If we have a street blocked and you live down that street, just say, hey, I live in that house down there. They'll let you through. If we have a ditch dug across the road where you can't get into your driveway, or maybe your driveway is dug across, we'll put a steel plate down for you so you can be able to get in and out of your driveway and not cause any kind of issues. You may be a little patient, but it may take you a couple minutes to get it done. But nobody will ever say, no, you can't go down this street. Like, we're not going to tell you can't go to your house. So we will be doing all that stuff for you folks and making sure that we're getting you guys in and out as best we can. So there's also a number on here. If if you want to get gas, if you don't have gas, or add natural gas appliances. There's a number on there for that as well. I know we just did a big project where some folks wanted to add several houses on gas. So this last page here is somewhat around the restoration. This is kind of probably the #1 callback we get when we do one of these projects. So we'll maybe dig the concrete up or the blacktop in the road, and we'll put back a temporary restoration, what we call cold patch, or sometimes it can be gravel, or what we call DGA in a sidewalk. And when we do that, a lot of times people think that that's permanent restoration. And it's easy to drive over and walk over, but it don't really look all that great. When you first put it down, it's hard to sometimes pack in, so people think that's what they're getting left with. That is a temporary solution. So how we're going to try to work this project, talk to the mayor a little bit about it, we're going to try to phase this project, right? My goal is to not have this entire project scope that you're looking at tore up at one time. I'm going to try to phase this project to where I put the main in one spot and the services in 2 or 3 spots, get that completely done before we move to other parts of the job. That way when the blacktop plant opens, we can go on and restore that part of the project before we move and tear up the rest of the project. If that makes sense. So we put some thought into it, try to do it the best way we can. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't lie to folks. It is construction work. You know, we're going to be out there, we're going to be digging, we're going to be, it's going to be an inconvenience at times. If we do 100% the best job that we can do, it's still going to somewhat be an inconvenience to you folks. It's disrupting your daily life, but we'll do the very best we can. The same with, it's kind of the same with concrete. Like I said, we'll be putting gravel back in a sidewalk square so you can, walk over it and things like that. And then we'll be coming back at a later date and more new concrete sidewalk squares for you. Same with lawn repair. We'll put the grass seed down and what we call erosion control blanket, which is essentially like a straw matting. We don't do loose straw anymore because it's super windy and blows all over the place and ends up in storm drains and things like that. So we use a erosion control blanket, pin it to the grass. And then once the grass comes up and is fully grown, we'll come back and pull that blanket off. And then you're good to go with mow and everything like that. So just one thing here before I kind of end is safety plug. Can't get out here without doing a safety plug. So again, like I said, do the best job we can do. Still inconvenience. I get it, we get the road blocked. You may have to wait a few seconds or a few minutes to get some cone moved or get a plug moved. Please be patient with us. We're getting guys ran over every day. I think, some of the police officers in here can attest. So we do everything we can, but this distracted driving thing is, and we're getting flaggers getting killed every day. These guys are just out there trying to make a living for their family like the rest of us. So just please be as patient as you can with us, and I'll kind of end there unless you guys got any questions. I'm happy to answer anything you got.
When do we start this project?
That's the first question. Can you narrow down when you think you're going to start? You said within the next month.
I'm thinking late January. So my goal is to have these letters probably mailed next week.
Okay.
So this is kind of a draft. This is pretty close to the final product, but my goal is to probably have these mailed out next week, maybe the week after, since next week is Christmas and all that, and so depending on what the mailing company can do for us. But that's the point. Yes, ma'am.
Is this like a phase 1 of like the whole entire map of Sterling? Why does this area get chosen first? Is it the oldest lines?
Yeah, so we've done several kind of other phases in Mount Sterling over the last few years. I think we've done a project, a good sized project here every year for the past 3 or 4 years. We took this year off because Holt Avenue, we've done that area over there, and that was a good sized project. So what I like to try to do is do a big project and give the city a break if I can, just so we don't, people get tired of seeing construction all the time. So sometimes we can do that, sometimes we can't. So how we do this is we look at pipes, right? It's 1930s type age pipe, and we just kind of look at, okay, what's our oldest pipe, what's most important to us. Like this is a residential area, but it's also the downtown area. It's 1930s pipe. it's gonna leak before long, so where it's down in the downtown area with all the residents around, it's kind of more susceptible, so we want to try to attack it first before we move on to something else that's a little bit less of an issue.
So it's a good question, and I know it seems like it's been dusty for the last several years, and that's because it has, Starling Avenue, Holt Avenue, Antwerp area, Spring Street, so about every other year they've been hitting a big project, so they've been telling me this one was coming for some time, and it's here. So we'll get ready to move into that in January, and how long is that gonna last
So
through
I'm gonna be honest with you, I plan on it all year.
just through December, hopefully this time next year?
Yes, by the time, so I very rarely want to start a project that I don't feel that I can finish in that calendar year. So when I say all year, that's me saying that I want the project started, the gas work completed, and also the restoration work completed. All driveways, sidewalks, roads paved, the whole deal. So when I'm done, I'm walking away, me and the mayor will walk through at the end of it, make sure he's satisfied and he is. We're done unless there's any kind of customer issue that can find.
Y'all have done a good job, and we appreciate you've done everything we've ever asked you to do. It's gonna be a huge undertaking, but we'll get through it. Do you have a start point, like which, when we look at this, where do you envision that you're
I
starting?
was looking at this a little bit earlier, so when I talked about that phased approach to the project, what I'm thinking about doing there is this piece up here on Nevada and Johnson down to Redford Alley. I can phase that as kind of one piece because we're kind of into existing. And then I can do the main and the services there and kind of do that as kind of like one little project within a project. The same going down Redford Alley, going down Redford and Trojan, and then the same on Mitchell and Ann. So my plan is to work those streets kind of as their own little separate phases. And then once they get done, hopefully at that point, to go have the main in, have the services in. At that point, the blacktop plants are opening. I can restore those streets and then start down here on High, kind of the rest of the bulk of the project.
Work your way up.
Yes,
Okay,
that's my plan.
okay. And, if you all have done a good job, just feed us the info, we'll push the info out to the public. Obviously, buses are a huge concern, making sure, and then every Wednesday's trash day, so that's a huge concern. But I know y'all have done a good job of just working around,
And Miller
everything.
Pipeline will be the contractor that's going to be performing this work for us. Same contractor, Nathan, that did Holt and Spur, or did Holt and, the other one.
His name also.
Yes, so the same folks will be doing the project, so they're very familiar with how we want to operate here in Mount Sterling and taking care of the folks here and not disrupting trash and buses and that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty clear and know what the expectations are and we'll try our best to follow them. And then we'll continue to do what we've done in the past, send update emails every week and try to keep everybody in the loop of what's going on and where we're at during the process of it.
Okay. I'll hold off on a public release until you give me when the letters go out, we'll go ahead and notify the public.
What I'll do is when I tell my communications folks to send this letter, I will send the final copy to you, and you all feel free to,
Okay.
post it on their Facebook pages or whatever they want to do, just to kind of get as much info out there as they can.
Okay. Nathan, did you have anything? I know we
No, that's what
talked
I'm
about.
going outside.
Okay, that's fine. Two other quick hits. One, just, my thoughts on asphalt. If there's any way you're not cutting asphalt, I'm all for you. Okay, so, you all always hear me out. Just if the best you can. I understand you've got to place it where you got to place it. And then the last thing, after this is done, have you all looked at what would be the next major project? Too far out?
I think so.
You give us a year off though, right?
Yeah, a little far out. A lot
Okay.
goes into it, easements and all this stuff.
Yeah,
so-
okay. But maybe you'll give us 2027 off?
That's right.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, anybody got any other questions? Thank you all so much for coming, and we'll get through this together. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Next, department head committee reports, Director of Public Works, Nathan Boston, we'll let you begin tonight.